Hello and welcome to MotorInc First. Today we have a car that Karthikeya actually really enjoys driving. Today we're talking about the updated Renault Triber. And there seems to be a little bit of confusion about how much is the Triber really been updated, and I believe the answers are quite shocking. This is the only part of the conversation that did actually overhear. I don't actually know any of the details.
He's stolen my thunder, man, because I was going to just come out and say, we really had no reason to drive the Renault Triber except for the fact
Just
that
ignore me and go for it.
except for the fact that, कैसे हो सकता है? Except for the fact that I admire the car so much.
Why?
So many things, man. Like, it's really a car that I do love, but I admire it. I respect it. Like, it's a little thing. And so, okay, why? Imagine it's the size of a Baleno, but it's got 3 rows of seats. And not for the sake of calling itself a 7-seater, but it's a genuine 7-seater. It's shocking how good it is at being a 7-seater, how flexible it can be. It's again in that the details of it, right? Like the second row slides by 200 which means the amount of flexibility that you get in your seating configurations. Like if I set the driving position for myself, then set the second row, and then accordingly the space that's remaining in the third row is such that even I could spend, like a Mumbai-Pune trip is like not even a question. Yeah, okay, sure, I'll do it. There's enough knee room, there's enough headroom, under thigh support as always can be better, but it's comfortable enough as a 7-seater for 7 adults. And for a car that small, that's genius, man. Like it's like you can't believe it the first time you think of this concept. And this is a really funny thing because I was looking up at what we had said about it in the past. I went to the View, which we had done a year and a half ago. So anybody who's in that kind of mind space, go there and check out some of the comments there. I think there's one from Mr. Tiwari. It is a hilarious comment. He said he went to the Renault showroom, and the salesperson told him that in this car, and he's tall or something like that. So the salesperson told him, even you can sit in the third row of this car. So he told him that if I can fit in the third row of this car, I'll buy it. And his next statement is that it's been a great 1 year with the Triber.
Nice.
So it's a, like, you will look at it and say it's not possible, this is ridiculous, but until you experience it, you will just not be able to comprehend, because even after you experience it, you think like, how did they make this happen?
They removed the boot.
So yeah, with the third row, there's no boot. That is there, of course. Most compact MPVs, any which ways, have a small boot. In the Triber's case, there is no boot, right? The seats are right at the end of the cabin. But even all of this is like completely okay, right? Like when I...
So if you have a Triber family and the person who's driving gets in, mom, dad, whatever. So somebody says shotgun, right? And they sit in the passenger seat. And somebody says suitcase and they sit in the third row.
You can do that. Okay, so like even in that, like the smaller things, those third row seats, individually removable, like completely, you can take it out of the car. So then the boot space that you get, since you're talking about suitcases, is massive, dude. Like if you think of it as a family hatchback, just think of it that way. Forget about the third row for an instance.
Even then, it's a good.
It's excellent. That kind of space in the second row, that kind of boot space, it's wild. It's like those fundamentals that make you think.
Sorry, did you just say wild?
Wild. What?
For a Triber.
Dude, it is wild. It is wild. Like this car, I keep, and this is not just me, okay? Even Aditya, I have messages from him, I'll show you later. They're ridiculous. We are discussing what we would do in a dream scenario with the Triber. Seriously. Okay, now I'm going to tell you. So Aditya said that, I will get a Triber and I will retrofit the turbo petrol engine into the car. Then I will be satisfied. This is the conversation we're having on the Triber. Imagine we wanted to fulfill its destiny, so to speak, so much. We like it that much. Okay, this is just packaging. Fine. But suspension, that chassis, it's like what Renault has done with this car, to me, is just always a highlight of great fundamentals. This is a car that we've tested in the past against other 7-seaters. And when we loaded it up with 7 and traveled with it, even in the third row, you remained comfortable, which is not something you can say for, let's say, the XL6 Ertiga.
Right.
And at that point, the Carens, now the Carens has improved. And those are cars that are 4-5 lakh rupees more, which will not offer you significantly better, let's say, third row space and comfort as well. And I think like, my God, it's like a case of we've not cut corners, for what we wanted to create, except in one area, which we'll talk about.
Yeah.
Right. So
you're saying it's kicking ass and taking names, but it speaks in French most of the time, so people don't understand what's happening.
I think because the idea of it is so outlandish that people kind of just ignore it. Like, it's like that too good to be true thing. If it's too good to be true, as likely as not,
it might be. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Anybody says 7-seat, oh, what nonsense. This can't be a 7-seat.
That's a plus.
Huh? What?
Sorry, you're just coughing.
So just look past it. So I think that's kind of, and as we've discussed this before, vehicles that end up sitting kind of in between,
Yes.
they get ignored.
We are not the market where
Yeah.
those kind of things catch your attention.
Correct.
For sure.
But anybody who's actually lived with one of these will know what the value of it is.
Okay.
And which is why, like, even though I had driven the Triber before, when we tested it here at MotorInc, where we really put it through everything, like that 7-seat configuration, used it like that, and we were literally going over speed breakers to see how much do you get tossed around in the back and stuff like that, and it was surprising how good it is.
Nice.
Right? So that's why the respect for the car, that's why the willingness and desire to spend time with it again, even though, like I said, and like he said at the start, that there's really no reason to drive it, because it's basically new headlamps, new grille, new design for the alloy wheels, new tail lamps, and some new features, and that's about it. Like, so it's no real reason to drive it, but we wanted to drive it, and I'm glad we did, because there is some stuff that does make this a better driver. It makes it a better buy, and in some ways it's not done the things that we keep wishing and hoping for.
Okay.
Right? So let's get that last bit out of the way. The big thing that everybody keeps wanting and asking for is that turbo petrol engine from the Kiger to come to the Triber. That's still not happened.
Why?
So the very, very simple answer to that is that when the car was designed, it was not designed to take a bigger engine than the one it has. Now, don't think of it in terms of just fitting in. You have to think of it from a crash test performance standpoint as well. So as soon as you have an engine with also has a turbocharger now, so you're taking up more volume. So in not only does it have to fit in properly, it's a smaller space than we can say, it goes into the Kiger, which is a platform sibling. But this is a much smaller bay area. Right? And then you have to think about crash test performance and all of that. So we can't do it.
Okay.
In this space and size, we cannot get the turbo in. So that leaves us with the 3-cylinder, 1-liter, naturally aspirated engine. With the manual transmission and the AMT.
Okay.
AMT, we had said before, do not buy it.
Okay.
Right?
It's the annoying manual transmission.
Absolutely. Now, as luck would have it, again, Aditya keeps testing my morals, He's like, how much of a tester is he really? So he's like, okay, should we call for the AMT first? So as of now, I have not driven the manual at all, right?
No.
Yeah. So I only got the AMT at the time of us recording this. We'll be doing a view later, and in which we'll talk about the manual as well. And the one feature that you'll get extra in the manual is cruise control, which is not in the AMT.
Got it.
So Aditya was like, we'll call for the AMT first. I said, fine, let's go to the manual. Then I said, okay, fine, must be serious about this. Okay, let's do it. Which means I'm going to drive it up the ghats and all of that in the AMT. And I was like, okay, we just do it. On the upside, it's still not on the upside. As before, it is still annoying. But the upside here is somehow between the tuning for E20 and the recalibration that they've done, because this is slightly heavier. There are all these minor tweaks that they'll keep talking about. Which they will not be able to tell you what exactly has been done, but minor tweaks. Net, the AMT did not feel completely lost like it did the last time we drove it, where it was even in city conditions, you said, this does not make sense.
Got it.
Today, if you tell me that I'm going to use this in a city, I'm a newer driver, I only intend to drive easy, okay, fine.
But there are better AMTs at this price point.
So that is, forget about that. Anybody who experiences this AMT is going to say AMTs are shit.
Got it. Okay.
Right? It's not a brand ambassador for this technology, which is why everybody who's driven the older AMTs, even with the Maruti Suzuki ones, right? They will say that no, I don't want an AMT.
Got it.
Whereas if you experience them today with a stronger engine like the 1.2 in the Baleno or whatever, it works really well. So this engine is not the strongest engine. Renault have been super clever with it from the start to make sure that it can play the part that is expected of it, even in a 7-seater. So like one of the things that they've done with it is that the first gear is really short, which means even if you're on an incline, even if you have 7 people on board or luggage, it has the grunt to pull. It won't struggle then. Same way, the 5th gear is really tall. So when you sit on the expressway or you're cruising at 100, 120, it's not like it's going gang. It's not strained. It's got enough peppiness to keep moving there effortlessly while being smooth enough.
But overtaking
Fine.
manages.
Yes. The hitch again over there is going to be the AMT. As long as you rely on the AMT to help you make quick moves, you're going backwards.
Not actually backwards.
I'm not exaggerating.
No, but not actually backwards.
Not actually, but relatively backwards. So let's say you want to make an overtake and you're like, okay, I'm going to accelerate hard. It'll gear shift and I'll make this overtake. Suddenly you realize you're 2 cars behind now. Because when you do that, it goes, it builds up the revs, the clutch disengages. And then for half a second, nothing's happening. You're like, what's going on? So you're just stuck. You're not moving forward in the sense, so you're not accelerating anymore at all.
Got it.
So it's weird. So, and the same thing applies to any kind of hurried inputs, like even at city speeds. If you're moving in traffic and you want to keep your space to the guy in front, somebody's trying to squeeze in and all of that, you do, again, it'll do the same thing. And then you've actually opened up a space. So
it teaches you etiquette.
So it tells you be smooth, because what it says is don't be heavy for it. Be smoother with your throttle, and if you do that, it works well now.
Yeah, so there's nothing fundamentally wrong with that idea, except you shouldn't have to keep adapting to your vehicle for these small things. Your vehicle should be able to adapt to you, is the point he's making.
Yeah, and I think a solution like this, when you end up using it and say that if you are an inexperienced driver, it is helpful enough. If you are somebody driving in the city, it's fine. If you're driving calmly, it's fine. That means there are too many caveats, too many musts from your side.
Correct.
So that the solution works for you, which is then not really a solution.
Yep.
So we will always tell you, even though this is fine now, and if you do go for it, I think you'll be much better off than what it was earlier. I'd still say pick the manual.
Got it.
I've not driven it, but that manual was, the clutch was light, the gear shifts were fine, and that engine, the way it is geared, the way it performs, has always been enough for a car of this type.
Yes, because I think if I remember the comments from the previous Triber story, it was always like, but that engine is not powerful enough, was always the thing that dogged this car.
Correct. It's not powerful. And one thing it always felt a bit was budget, and that was the sound. It has that raspiness to it. And so that's the interesting thing. Now imagine, unless and until we had driven and experienced the car for ourselves, we would have never known that some things have changed.
Okay.
So this is exactly what happened. The day the car came, and I was going to be driving to Pune in the car, Shumi was outside where the car was, and I got into the car, and I immediately stepped out, and Aditya was there, and I looked at him, and I told him, get in the car, and Shumi was like, what's going on? And we were like, no, we can't discuss it.
Yeah.
So it was literally getting into the car, stepping in, and you're like, something is different. You know what it was? The floor mats. Not the mats, the carpet. They've increased the thickness of that. And that's one of the things. So they've gone with better sound insulation for A-pillar, the firewall, the hood, all of that. They've improved the materials that they've used. and improved the sound insulation. And that is why back then we were both looking at each other and I asked him to sit in the car.
Got it.
Because the cabin just felt quieter. And that is one of the experiences with the engine seeming more distant. So the car automatically feels more mature. Is it going to feel suddenly lavish and premium? No.
Yeah, that's fine.
But it's a nicer car now, right? So they've improved that aspect of it. So it's all these smaller things which are good that they have done. And typically, it's not even Renault. I think of them as Triber things, where like that second row slides and that's standard. The second row seats are 60-40 split, standard, right? So just the flexibility of the car that's being packaged in. Earlier, the car didn't have front and rear power window standard. Those have been made standard. It didn't have front parking sensors. They've added those in on the higher spec variant only. It also gets rain sensing wipers and headlamps. So all the practical things are coming into the cabin, which make it a more sensible pick than it was before. Headlamps, LEDs, LED projector headlamps. It had projectors earlier also. This is now LED. Good. I'm not going to say super bright, but good spread, good throw, nice, useful, and also gets fog lamps now. And this is something I checked only last night. I was like, could Renault have done just like a token thing? Because this is the Triber. I would have said, "Chal, in any other car, fine." But this is the Triber. So I said, I want to see what these fog lamps do. So I went out and I checked out the high beam, low beam. And I said, what does the fog do? Fog again is not super bright. But you see the spread it gives? This is like your main beam, right?
Right.
And when you turn on the fogs, it's like literally a line that goes out like this and lights up this patch. So imagine on winding roads or narrow roads, when you're using the fog lamps, it's going to give you a wider, it's going to light up a much wider field of view, nice low down so you can see what's around you.
Nice.
So that's also well done. So these are those small things that they have done, which the additions are not just tokens. They are actually they're taking the vehicle forward. So the sound insulation, the tune for the AMT, small steps but good steps that take it forward. The feature additions also valuable. So the design wise, we didn't speak about that. So I think that's one of the things. On the outside, we said this for the Kaiga, and I'm going to say this here. It has a Stellantis feel to it, and I'm going to say more narrowly Jeep. It looks like a mature, handsome car. They've come with new colors. They've got 3 of the older colors, but there are 3 new colors which are really they're good. Like there's one blue. There's the one that we have is a more mature again shade of orange compared to the one that we had earlier. So those are the design changes. Still steel wheels, but still look like alloys. New design for that. On the inside, the dashboard used to have this dual tone thing, black and cream. Now it's all cream. The instrument clusters, the touchscreen is floating. You now get wireless smartphone connectivity.
Okay.
And I don't know if it is because of the sound insulation. And we cross-checked this amongst ourselves, like Aditya and me. We were both kind of taken aback by the sound system. It still has the same number of speakers and stuff like that. But it just felt better.
Okay.
It's not like, again, not rich, but it's clear throughout. You could listen to stuff.
Maybe because they were working on sound insulation, some amount of fine-tuning happened.
Maybe. So that's what. So now this was the one thing that when we asked Renault for clarity on this, so we got clarity from them about the sound insulation. We heard from them about the body as well, which they said some amount of changes have happened to accommodate. Yeah, it has 6 airbags now as standard. It used to only have 4 airbags as an option, if I'm not wrong, or it used to have them as standard. But now it's 6 airbags as standard. So some changes have been made there. All of this has also gone and added weight to the car, so it's 20 kilos heavier overall. So some changes have happened. Some of those will impact the audio experience in the cabin. And so the screen is the one thing that they say is slightly different. The layout is different. But it certainly sounded good.
Okay.
For this class, for this price, I wouldn't complain about it. And talking about price, when it was launched, the prices had gone up slightly. But now post GST, just think about it. This car for the top spec variant is under 9 lakh rupees.
Nice.
Under 9 lakh rupees.
So there's just over 1 lakh of rupees per head if you do per capita price of car.
Yes, sir.
If you don't understand what the per capita joke is, you've not watched Disconnect.
Disconnect.
Disconnect season 3 is live on the app, and in there is a per capita way to measure a car, which is awesome.
So yeah, and talking about that, the per capita calculation connection I will take to the Triber as well, because I think the one aside from the engines, the automatics versatility, the engine's punchiness, the other thing is the one thing that is the trade-off for that tune of the engine so that it can manage 7 seats while being small. And I think that's the same thing, like the size to how many seats it can accommodate.
Right.
It's the same thing. You hear the engine specs, 3-cylinder, 1 liter, and nonsense. This is not going to work. But it manages to pull it off.
Right.
The trade-off of that is that the fuel efficiency is not going to be as strong as other cars in this price range.
By what kind of difference?
So like, for instance, on the highway, this will be your 17, kind of like that, in that zone. Whereas
the other cars do what, 21s?
Yeah, they'll be in the 20s, right? And those will, the 1 liters will do that, 1.2s will also do that. So that's the difference, refinement. And the same thing will apply even to the city conditions, right? Now, the other interesting thing that we discovered in the process of exploring this car was that Renault has been offering. And see, the reason I'm not talking about some of the feature updates, like let's say the wireless charger, this larger screen, and a couple of other things like that, was because these were already updated in the car last year.
Got it.
So they seem new to us now because when we experienced the car, it didn't have them. But these were included last year itself.
Got it.
Right? And that was also when Renault brought in the CNG kit. Right? So because we were looking at the car.
Dealer fitted.
Yes. So it's a dealer fit system. And the reason why it got my attention was because in the brochure it says 7-seat CNG. Like, what nonsense. Right? So we asked Renault about it, and guess what? They found a way to move the third row of seats a little bit forward and accommodate the CNG tank. We've got a photo, and because the second row seat slides 200 mm.
Right.
We've not experienced this, but when you add all
so
of
there's
that,
a little space compromise, but you get the CNG in there.
While still having a third row.
Nice.
That I was just like, man, this is really pulling out the stops that way. So we've not driven that. We don't have official fuel efficiency figures, but this car's about in the 19 claimed. So CNG costs that way will make it better any which ways. Costs about 75,000 rupees, 80,000 rupees to get it done at the dealership. The dealer takes care of getting the RC changed and updated and all of that. So all that is handled by the dealership. So that's the CNG part of it. So what remains here is nothing really. We're done with this. But I really enjoyed it.
Did you enjoy driving it?
Yes, absolutely.
I think you should talk about that.
All right. It's for the same familiar reasons, like the suspension. It feels like such a serious, grown-up car. It feels unbothered by our roads and speed breakers and stuff like that. It's just so confident. In fact, it feels almost a little bit more serious than I remember it, to the point where I thought that this car wants you to have 5 people on board and luggage, and then it'll kind of really settle down. It's like that kind of control and ability that...
How did they do that? And what did they do that the others can't do?
This is Renault, right? This is their specialty. They've always done like their suspensions. If they ever get suspension wrong, it becomes a shock. Right?
Okay.
They are always the ones...
If they get the suspension wrong, it becomes a shock.
Yeah.
Did you intend to say that?
No, I did not, but well caught.
Come on, Karthik.
That's not my specialty. But he caught it.
In the final edit, please remove it and let people discover the pun.
No. What's the point? I'm not pretending, please. And think about it, actually, there's a very strange connect here because Citroën also prides itself on this, right? It seems like almost like a French thing, right? To get great suspension. And that's something that the Triber really does beautifully.
But why do the French cars not sell?
Hyundai sells. Okay, let's just look at it, right? But look at the step between a Hyundai and a Maruti still. It's massive.
Yep.
So I think a lot of it is just that safety of purchase, which is a mental thing.
Yep.
I think that still continues to be a big factor for people. And that's the interesting thing, which is what I brought up in the comments as well. People who opted to go for the Triber have seen so much value in it once they had it.
Correct.
And they're talking about family usage, long distance usage, a wide set of use cases, right? It's that step of saying, do I want to?
Yep.
Right. So I think just that, and that's okay. I think for a lot of the people who are going to buy their first cars, that security and peace of mind
It's
that
a big thing.
it's
Yep,
a massive
100%.
thing, right?
Yep.
It'll only be over time when you know that, oh, no, he had a great experience with a
Yeah.
Renault, he had a great experience with a Citroen or whatever it is, right?
Correct.
A new brand that you then get the trust to say that I will put in my 7, 8, 10 lakh rupees into something which, because think about it, like if
Yeah,
things
if you
were
buy
to
a
go
Triber,
down,
nobody else you know has a Triber probably. I mean, the name is Triber, but there's not much of a tribe for this car.
yeah, it's obviously not that big.
Right.
And you know what? This is where the improvements wala aspect always comes in my head.
Correct.
Because, okay, there are small things that you could say that they could do in the cabin which would make it better and feel more current. Like the only thing that I would talk about is I wish it had USB ports in the back. It still doesn't, in the second row at least.
But it improves social interaction, right?
Yeah.
Arey, plug my phone in na yaar.
Okay. But in other ways, like that cabin's utility is still so good. Like, I don't know if you remember that in the floor console between the front seats, there's a box. It's literally that wide, that long. It's like a mini fridge. It's like a little dabba. And it's got the aircon vent connected to it. So you can open the flap so it becomes a cool box. And you can just put stuff there. It's so good, right?
That would be iced Americanos we're talking about.
Chocolates in my case. So that is there. It has 2 glove boxes on the dashboard. Some of the things that I realized this time that I completely missed the last time around, and are like shortcomings. I don't know how I missed them. Like the cup holders, they're so small. It's suddenly like, how did they get this wrong? So, so it's there. So it must have been earlier also. So some small things like that. The door pockets aren't as big as I.
So they're cutting chai pockets.
Very good. Yes.
So they Indianized the car. So they Indianized the car.
Yeah.
Or Mumbai-ized the car if you prefer.
Yeah, we realized that it's not an all-India phenomena, this cutting chai business.
Yeah, I don't think it is. No.
So some strange things like that. But okay, I mean, that's really not a problem.
So essentially, Renault and Nissan haven't done so well as a group, and French cars in general haven't done so well as a group. So to change the writing on the wall, we are going to use a duster at some point.
Yes, or what is the other one?
The Renault.
Which they have announced as the what? Something. Anyways, yes, so those will come and those will, of course, hopefully set them on
Why
a better
can't the
path.
French name their cars like normal people? What kind of name is Triber and Kiger and Duster? What's going on?
Which names seem normal to you?
Celerio.
I don't think you come and say espresso.
Espresso is the most pick-me-up car I have ever seen.
Because that's
When I book a Uber, that's what shows up most of the time. It is a total pick-me-up car. I mean, for all my social interaction with human beings over the last 50 years, I've been picked up the most often by the Uber guy, mostly in an espresso.
Because I look at any brand's names.
So you know what my favorite pickup line is? 770 and mera OTP hai. Then I get picked up.
Well played. By Uber. But tell me seriously, which companies' car names do you like?
What are good car names? 911. Oh, you didn't want me to go that high. Let's see. Car names that I think are... Swift is a nice car name. And it was Swift until very recently. The Desire was probably misnamed from the start. It was a very useful car and has lots of great attributes, but Desire. I do like the numeric names. I don't like the new Audi numerics, which I don't understand, where 5.3 means 5 is something and 3 is... But the previous ones, yeah, I like those.
Simplicity.
BMW's numeric scheme makes sense to me. Their I-Series makes no sense to me either. Indian cars, let's see. Nissan has actually had pretty decent names if you think about it. The Micra was a small car. The Kicks was... Nobody needs this. The Duke, I mean, they forgot to close the U on top. but they are appropriate names.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know whether he's defending them, or promoting them, or kicking them.
But they got them right.
Uh,
Kicks and Juke are the correct names for that car, and the Skyline GTR is the exact name for that car.
Skyline. It's okay. As far as I can make out, very few options where actually things work.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. Car names are
there
just
were other
like
French manufacturers who didn't even do this well in India, like Peugeot, but a 309 is a perfectly good name for a car. 309 GLD, not so much, but
I always think about this, like, how do you decide a car name? There's something about what you've done in the past. But when you work in a market like India, it has to sound different in some way. I'm
and
sure.
aspirational in some way, at least.
Aspirational, but at the same time, it should be easy to pronounce.
Yes.
So people kind of can remember it.
Correct.
And
Yeah, it's complicated for sure.
It's not easy, right? Like, and then you have to
100%.
think about, does it mean something wrong in some other language and stuff like that?
Yeah.
There's a lot of complication in
Yeah,
that.
100%.
So I don't know. So for me, always names are like, okay, fine, as long as, and okay, in this, another example in this where I just stopped thinking about names was like the Creta. When it came out, how many jokes we made and said, what a nonsense name. Correct.
And how many jokes were made that were never broadcast until we showed up on the scene and then broadcast those jokes?
What?
Like the guy who just sold his Creta.
Oh.
You know this joke, right?
Yeah. So my point is, did the name stop the car from being good? Did the name stop the car from people buying it? No, it doesn't. So
actually, that would be an interesting thing to find out from you in the comments. Do you think a great name for a bad car would help its sales?
A great name for a bad car.
Or conversely, a good car with a terrible name, would it slow the sales down?
Go for it, people.
Like, there are examples, right? Like, for example, you've always said that the Alcazar was called the Creta 7-seater, Creta Plus, Creta Pro, whatever. It would just sell more because it's hinging on a name that is valid for that car and comes from a good place. Right? So the Alcazar name is a hindrance for that car. Because Hyundai tried to separate that or whatever. Maybe it's worth exploring.
Cool. Anything in bikes like this that strikes you?
Bikes generally have descriptive names. Like, it's the CB125 all over the earth, but in here it has to be the Hornet. So we do like names quite a bit. Yamaha may be the exception, where their motorcycles typically have such long established global number series that they just don't name their bikes anymore.
They're also alphanumeric.
So they've always, so the R series is sports bikes, and then you have the 3, the 6, the 7, the 9, and used to be the 1, and sorted. Honda does it only for their Fireblade, where it has a Fireblade name, but the 600RR never had a name, the 400s never had a name.
I always liked the alphanumerics because it immediately told you where it fit.
Yeah, in Honda's,
I like the idea of
in
that.
Honda's case, you took the Fireblade, which was the CB R1000RR, and then you said, this is not hardcore enough, so you built the hardcore, so SP, then more hardcore, SP2. Then say, oh God, we have one more, even more hardcore, RR-R.
This has more R's, this has to be the racingest.
And you know, when the Japanese use the R, then I'm on the back foot, right? Because I remember traveling with a gentleman called Glenn Ribello to Japan. They had so much trouble with his name.
Oh my God.
I'm called Mama-san in Japan because that's how they pronounce my name. And Mama-san is a very specific designation for a very specific economically viable role, which is not fit for broadcast.
Oh, okay.
Right? So the first time I meet anybody in Japan is always Konnichiwa Mama-san, and then they know what they just said as my surname, right? And then they'll be like...
Okay. So where were the Triber?
No, so what I had asked them was the name versus car. And then we brought up the bikes, and the bikes typically do have names in India. It's how we do things. To come back to the car, how large is Renault's network now? How good is their service quality now?
So it's still obviously nowhere.
I'm asking these questions because this is not a manufacturer that is commonly being talked about all the time. So we might as well set context.
Yeah. So it's Maruti, Hyundai, and Renault will be much smaller than any of this. But taking its sibling Nissan as a benchmark, then on the other hand, it's much bigger than Nissan. So its reach is better than that. And they have these mobile service workshops and things like that to try and improve reach, which improves access for sure. But these are the things that will create a sense of caution for people when they're making a decision.
Of course.
So that will continue to be the case, right? So as we've always said, if you're looking to buy any one of these cars, any actually of the brands that are smaller with a smaller network, see which is your closest dealership, how responsive they are when you're looking for a test drive. Ask people who own another vehicle from that dealership, and see what the experience has been in terms of service. That's the best way to make a decision, because if that dealership is good and responsive, and we've heard this from many smaller service networks, that people are very, very satisfied. They say, I've had no issue, because maybe they're not that busy, or maybe because they understand that they need to build their brand, and to build that trust, that they make sure that customers
Yeah,
are
in fact,
treated better.
when we are doing view stories, we'll often go into circles and see what people are saying about that
Yes.
particular brand and get a sense of what the service is like. For example, I'll give you a recent example. I was testing the Suzuki Access 125, and the Suzuki service quality report has always been kind of weird, where you can't really put your finger on it. So I just spent an afternoon, I put Suzuki service into the search engine and saw what comes up. And there are distinctly groups of people who are very kicked with Suzuki service. And then there are distinctly people who say, what is this nonsense? So clearly it is an inconsistent. Whereas, just to give you another reference point, I was researching the new 2025 Hunter, where most people say service is fine at Royal Enfield. They're not super kicked about it, but they're also not super upset about it. By and large, Royal Enfield service seems to, meets expectation, and that is good enough because you're dealing with them 2 times a year. It's fine.
Actually, service is one of the worst things. Like, if I were working for a car maker, and if I was handling
It's
service,
the messiest thing ever.
Exactly.
100%.
Because you're dealing with the most painful part of the ownership process, which is like, you come in when you have a problem.
Correct.
Right? You coming in to get things fixed. So the person you're interacting with is already unhappy. Right? So regular service, okay, fine. But even in that, you're taking time out of your regular schedule to go and get stuff done. You're spending money, which is always going to be a conflict area, a friction area. So it is a painful part. So if I find that people are not complaining about a brand,
that's actually a good place to be.
That's a good place to be, right? So do you hear this constant noise of saying, oh, Renault is terrible? There was a time when people used to complain about the Quid regularly, about quality and things like that. But that was way in the past. Do you hear about it today? You don't hear about it
And
today.
a trick that I've learned to use, I don't know how useful this is, but I will sometimes, if I'm struggling with service for a brand, I will sometimes call the sales guy who sold me the bike and ask for their help. And if they try to help, not all of them do, because it's in theory not their job. But if they volunteer to participate and try to get you a solution, that's usually a very good sign. Then you can track this person. So when this guy moves brands, because salespeople move around, when they move to another brand and you're considering by good fortune that brand's next, you know you're going to get good service there too, because he will recognize the fact that you bought brand A's vehicle with me, you had some issues, we sorted it out, I'm at brand B and now you're back at brand B trying to buy another thing from me. He remembers those things, and then that sort of cycle intensifies. It's awesome.
That's a great example, actually. That's a great idea to check out. Okay. With the car, I think from a driving standpoint, while I do like the steering, at city speeds it's light, it's lively, it feels easy to drive. But at the same point, at highway speeds, I find that it's quicker than I would want it to just feel a little bit calmer in that sense. So,
but that's when you're driving enthusiastically or just normally?
No, just normal. Like, you're sitting on the highway, you're adjusting the volume, and in just that time, you realize that you've managed to steer yourself a bit. It's that kind of quickness, right? But I think the big thing and the bit that I will continue to fantasize about this car is that if it had that 1.2 liter from Maruti in this, I swear to God, this could be one of the best sellers in the country.
If they put the K series engine, it'll become the Triber, no?
Yeah. But imagine if Renault had, I keep saying the K series because so it's easy for you to understand what engine I'm talking about. Instead of 3, it's a 4. It's a smooth, easy to drive at low speeds.
Has the same initials as you.
Good flexibility. And imagine if Renault had that kind of an engine which they could put into this. If they had that, my God, this car would be so much car for so many people. It's just, it literally blows my mind every time I think about it.
So Renault's not going to make a Renault Triber Cup? Like the Clio?
How much luggage you can load?
If you can put a CNG cylinder in them, I'm sure you can put a second engine in the back.
And think about it. Now see, these are all the things that you're bringing up in my head, right? Because like when you said do a cup for Renault, it's like for the Triber, it's like how practically can you use your Triber?
Hmm.
You know, the roof rails on this are usable, 50 kilo capacity. They're not just ornamental. And I don't know, man. I keep thinking about this car, like how many small details. There's a secondary cooling system for the second and third row seats. That's also from the second variant. It's not on the base. But that's so powerful. In fact, the air conditioning is so powerful that I had set it at the midway point in the cool zone. And so when Aditya got into the car, it was later in the day. I had driven down from Pune, and I'd set it lower. So he went in the day and he's like, "Oh, the AC is not working so well." I said, "Dude, the AC wasn't even on full. Okay,
Yeah.
it's at that level." And even in the second and third rows, you have air con vents, you have blower controls. Man, this car's just so practical. So if there's a Triber Cup, it has to be about how practically can you use the Triber? What all can you do with it? So yeah. So it's a car that
I think you like it too much.
it's true. It does feel that way for a car where I know its flaws are so obvious, and I know how without those flaws, how like truly special it could be. How much I still like it is strange.
It's odd and can be misconstrued when I say this about a French car, but your admiration for this car is almost bordering on the cheesy. I think it's time for you to do a little bit of whiny instead and tell me what's wrong with it.
I've told you, engine, AMT. If we had to go further down this road and say, hey, why not this, why not that? I'm not going to ask for a sunroof, sorry. I would say that could we have had even a better sound system? If I really wanted to take this, make it a more family premium experience, the engine, better sound system, I would want those few modern day conveniences like USB ports.
ADAS.
Yeah. Sure, why not? Okay, since you brought up ADAS, this is cheesy again. They offered traction control. They offered a tire deflation warning system. They had ESP as standard on this car from way before, like when we tested it. Since that time, I don't know if it was there at launch, but all these things were in the car from the get-go. So, I mean, it's hard to not respect the car for what it has done already.
Okay, fine, we get it. My God, 40 minutes of glowing admiration. Jeez.
And for a car that's still not great in like a few.
He's not even driven the manual yet. Can you imagine what I will have to go through once he actually drives the manual, which
No,
he
we'll go
really
straight
enjoys.
to view. We're obviously not going to do that.
Thank God, I can just watch like 8 minutes of that or 12 minutes or whatever.
So yeah, that's the Triber, and I'm glad I got the excuse to drive it again.
Can I do a quick summary now?
Do you need to?
47 minutes we are in.
It's okay.
No, I think we should.
You should?
Yeah.
Okay, chalo.
Here's the quick summary of the 2025 recently updated Renault Triber. Kartikeya was an admirer of this car before the facelift, refresh, what you want to call it. It still remains a huge admirer, as you would have discovered if you'd watched the previous 40 minutes. In case you haven't, what you need to know is this. The basics of the car more or less remain in the same place, and this was an extremely well-packaged car with an outrageous amount of space and utility built in. The engine was always the weak link in the car, in the sense of, from the spec sheet, it wouldn't look powerful enough. And there are situations where you might feel like, I'm not sure that it's going to do that thing. But what Kartikeya continues to reiterate is, when you drive this car, you will be surprised at how well the engines and the gearbox design work together to create a good experience. The worst of the two powertrains here is the one with the automated manual transmission. The manual transmission has always been better. What he's saying is he's only driven the AMT for this particular recording, and it's already feeling like it has improved over the last one, although the specifics of where the improvement is coming from are not actually clear yet. So he's excited that he's going to have to do a view story on the updated Triber next, and with the manual transmission, his experience will only improve. Why is he saying it's improved? Because the baseline of this car was already excellent, because it's a 7-seater and an excellent and flexible 7-seater. They're so flexible that when Renault said we'll put a CNG kit, it was confident that the dealers would be able to manage it, and it is still a 7-seater at the end of fitting the CNG tank with a very minor difference in space. This is also a well-equipped car, and more equipped this time, so there's stuff like wireless chargers, etc. The sound system sounds like it has gotten better. There's better sound insulation, so it doesn't feel like the old car where when you were fully loaded going up a slope, you could hear the engine a little bit, and that diminished your experience a little bit. So a lot of small tweaks have gone into the Triber to make it feel even better than it was, and it still remains an extremely value car to buy, because the top model of all of this is still just 9 lakh rupees. So the point he has made over and over and over again until it's come out of my ears is the fact that the Triber is an amazing vehicle. And if it's not on your shopping list, this is okay because this is what the pattern is looking like. But if you're buying a car in this sort of range, ignore the spec sheet on that car. See if there's a Renault dealer close to you, and if there is, you should go get a test drive because this is an outrageously capable car, although it does have very, very specific weaknesses. One of them, the AMT is better than before, but it can be slightly annoying to drive. The engine is not a powerful engine, it's just a competent engine which works better with the manual gearbox. And small things like this. USB ports are not in the second row, for example, and stuff like this. But what it adds up to for the money that you pay is actually a very nice car to drive, and that is what you need to know about the Triber.
Awesome. Well done, sir. What's happening with you next?
I'm resting.
Nice. You deserve it.
Yeah, no. So I think from we're recording this about 2 weeks or 3 weeks before Diwali or something, and I think between now and Diwali there are very few bikes coming in. I'm very happy about it, which gives us time to work on other projects, which you will see soon. Karthik is working on one. I am working on at least one, and we'll see what comes out of that.
All right.
Yeah, but we're about 3 years of MotorInc roughly by the time this airs, almost exactly to the day or something like that. So I think it's also time. Right?
I haven't seen what he's up to, so we'll see.
Yeah, I haven't seen what he's up to either, and that's okay.
Okay.
So that's all we have on the Renault Triber. We've enjoyed this car, and therefore we've done a quick MotorInc First on it, relatively speaking. And we don't have questions from circles this time because I think this car is not generally in the consideration set, so we know roughly what the questions are going to come. The point we wanted to make is this is a car that you shouldn't ignore if this is the kind of budget that you're looking for. Now, if there's any question that we haven't answered here, just leave us a comment. We prefer you do it on the app because the app was designed for conversations and not commentary. But wherever you are, whatever your question is, we'll make sure that it gets answered. And of course, if you haven't got the MotorInc app, this would be your invitation to come check it out. Thank you so much for watching.